Now we are live. I have starting to have a problem with the technical issues with the transmission. Yeah, it's terrible. How are you everyone today? Yes, we are live now. Oh, this is a complex thing. Good morning, everyone. I hope you have a great sprinting now. How are you? This is the Latin American chats for the worldwide Writeathon. Can Consuelo, can you start like with your introduction? You are mute.
Sorry that my headphones broke, so I couldn't hear anything. So if you can just repeat that again.
Oh, if you can start you with your introduction.
Oh, okay. So hello everyone watching. I'm Consuelo Takes. I'm the current ML for our local region in Chile for NaNoWriMo. I've been participating on NaNoWriMo for the last 10 years or so, on and off, not every single year. And yeah, that's it. That's me. I don't know what else to say about me. I'm 31. I'm a sociologist. I have many cats.
I've been seeing the transmission, the last sprint, and there have been like a lot of cuts on the transmission. So this is a pet friendly World War Marathon. Charlie, we couldn't see you. So Sebastian, what's your introduction for today?
Well, I started writing in NaNoWriMo about like 10 years ago too, and I used it to finish my first novel. Uh, that was about a, a Chilean wizard, and it had a lot of historical context. So it was a lot of work, and NaNoWriMo was very helpful to make uh, like a training. So I started to write really every day, and now I'm like always in NaNoWriMo mode. Uh, Last night we were talking about that. Um, I write about 1,000 words a day, every day, at this time, around this time, and I'm uh, very prolific now. I have won about 10 or 15 uh, um, concursos, and I'm finishing my third novel to publish and writing two more in the time.
You are, I think that, sorry, Charlie is with a little bit of technical issues right now. Sebastian, I think that you are the only publish of between us. Consuelo, I don't know if you publish like uh, a novel or short stories.
No, I've never published. My writing, it's more like a hobby for me. I have published papers though, if that counts.
Yeah, I mean the word counts, like for
Yeah,
sure,
I have.
for
I
sure.
yeah, never published any like literary work, but I published a few research papers.
And Sebastian, are you a self-published author or
Uh,
you are the
my
traditional?
no, my second novel was auto-published. Was a very good experience because I had to do everything: the outline, the text, the correction, edition, illustrations, because it has a lot of photo bashing. So it was everything. I did all the work, and it was great. And by the money side, it was better because in Chile, the editor houses usually only pay the legal 10% and nothing more. So I won a lot of more money with my auto publishing than with Real Real Editorial. That was the editorial house that published my first novel.
But you do both things. Like your first novel was published like by an editorial,
Yeah,
and then
and
you publish for
and
yourself.
years before uh, that first novel was to be published with another editorial house, uh, Universitaria, but it was days before the earthquake of the 2010. So I said no, I want to read the contract with my lawyer because just because. And yeah, no problem. Take a few days and we will talk later. And then was the earthquake, and the Universitaria was famously down for about
Yeah.
2 years,
Oh, yes.
and the chief editor, uh, Lucia Bormalt, was on how you call jubilación,
Retirement.
Retire.
retired. She retired, and the new chief editor didn't knew anything about me, so I published with Real.
Yes, for the ones who don't know, Chile is. I always say the nine of 10 natural disasters prefer Chile. We have a lot of earthquakes. There was like a little tremor yesterday. I think it was like rate 5 or 6. I don't know. That for us 5 or 6 probably Consuelo didn't even notice. Like you was like I don't know. We have a lot of earthquakes here. I mean, we call them tremors because are not like big for us, but the 2011, yeah, 2011 was the last one.
2010.
The big one was
10.
like a big one. 2010 was a big one, and yes, half of the country was on the floor, pretty much.
Yeah,
And
we call them. That's very Chilean. It's common here to make a big difference between tremor and earthquake, because
yes,
tremors we don't feel it. Uh, under 6 on Mercalli, it's nothing. I didn't know that there was a tremor yesterday.
I
yeah,
didn't feel it, but my friend texted me about it. They were like, "Hey, did you feel it?" No.
no, I don't know.
Yes,
We
you
don't know
can
everything. Yeah,
probably. But they were like, "No, yeah, it was really strong. I could feel it." And I live on the 15th floor, but this so yeah, so for all the people watching who are not Chilean, if you are in Chile and you feel a small earthquake, you probably shouldn't be scared because our buildings are very safe. I live on a 15th floor and I barely feel any earthquake. It just rocks like slightly like this.
yeah. I don't want because I know that there was a little tremor, like an earthquake on Australia a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was a huge thing for them, and it was like maybe a few Chilean like bitching about that, like oh they were so scared. Like Chilean buildings are prepared for that movement,
and
you know,
and we
like
cheat
in
and
other
we
countries.
cheat we cheat
Yes,
because our soil has so many tremors and earthquakes that it's solid. It's not like, for example, at Ciudad de Mexico, where it's water and earth. So when it starts the earthquake, this makes some liquefying. No,
yes.
In
So
Chile
yes,
that doesn't happen. Can't
yes,
happen.
so don't worry about that. And if you're children in other countries, don't bitch about that because people is scared and
Yeah.
it's fair. Like if you were in the state and it started like a tornado, yeah, you'll be scared too. Um. Oh, Charlie's back.
Hey. Hi,
Hi, Charlie.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm still sleepy,
Yeah.
but I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah, everything good.
Can you do your introduction? You are writing now. You already published something. Did you finish your novel already?
Okay, my name is Charlotte. Well, I write for a hobby. I haven't published anything. I have an idea in the future, maybe with a friend, to publish something about my last novel last year when I was writing NaNoWriMo. And then this year in April in Camp Nano, I was editing. Now I pretend to make a sequel, but I'm not very sure because I've been very busy and at work. So I'm trying to make an space to work and write. I don't know what
Yeah.
else. I'm a, I'm a secretary and an accountant, and I am 32 years old, and this is my first time in a stream live, so I think it's very fun.
Yes, I think that it's very fun that, and I like because we are like in the fort where we're all from Chile. We're Chile. Everyone knows each other for their NaNoWriMo Chilean chapter. Consuelo is our boss in the NaNoWriMo chapter, and yeah. So, but we are all in different like stages of the writing process, right? So, Sebastian have been published both traditional and self-publishing. Consuelo have finished a few papers and also a novel, I think, Consuelo, right? Did you finish it? Yeah.
I got finished, but I never published it. Probably not. But I finished it.
And Charlie also is already working. I'm just plotting and I'm starting. I start writing March of this year. Uh, I always want to write, but I didn't like have like the do you know this stage when you're a kid and you dream about doing something like I always like to want to publish something but I never have the the state of mind to actually write it and now I'm the in the different stage where I want to write. I don't mind uh, even if I always someday I publish. Like I just want to sit and write. And one of the things that took me to Nano is that I didn't find a lot of groups, Chilean or South American or even in Spanish, a lot of groups that were really active in the writing or even maybe in arts is most. But I didn't have like I didn't find like really active, and that's why uh, finally I then I add me to the Nine of Raymond. Did you know how? Why do you think that we finally start doing the Nine of Raymond? There's not a lot of community, I think, in the writing. In the writing, no, there's not a lot of people in the writing community. At least in Spanish.
Mm, I don't think so. NaNoWriMo is something you you usually learn about because or you read in English or are in groups that English speakers. So NaNoWriMo in particularly, I don't think it's underpopulated. I think it's only non. It is something stranger here in Chile. But I used to participate with other people. I was a judge on a lot of uh, cert, certamen. I don't know the word concurso. It's,
contest.
Contest. Thank you. A lot of contests, literary contests, these years, and there is a lot of people writing very good in Chile. Poetry, particularly, it's very good. I am not a fan of poetry, but they're really good, and they don't usually are they don't usually participate in communities online. So we don't know about them, but it's
Yeah,
because of a communication issue.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think there's a lot of writing communities, but that are in person and maybe smaller, like writing groups or writing workshops. I've heard a lot about them. And I also think there's an age difference. Like, I think younger people, like 18 to early 20s, maybe they're more prone to being like in online communities. Um, I know I was very active in online communities when I was in my 20s, but then you start to work and you have other responsibilities and you're not as active or as engaging with people because you don't have as much time, I think it could be something like that. But like Sebastian said, I've seen a lot of I know a lot of people, right? We do have like a lot of people in the region in NaNoWriMo. We have like more than 150 people or something like that signed up to the region. But when you'd never see those people interacting, you never have 150 people interacting at the same time. But we do have a lot of people, so I think it's just more like a silent writing community.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
And
to
at
write
least for
is a
me,
solitary thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
yes.
though.
Hmm.
That's the thing for me. What really drew me to NaNoWriMo and the Discord channels. There is I have like 15 servers in my Discord, and all are about writing. And because I think that with the pandemic, we were already a year alone in our homes. Like I was just like everyone else, like alone in our homes, alone with your family. But the feeling of the feeling of company was great for me. Like, okay, we are going to sprint, and we have now a community sprinting right now. And it was great, like to be able to share that moment with everyone and say, oh, did you write today? Well, yeah, we write like 100 words or 150, or you know what, I'm plotting this, or I have issues with my story, can you help me? That feeling was great, to know that is, yes, it's a solitary like um, thing, but you can share it with others.
Yeah, we
Oh
were
my god.
we were stranded, but not isolated.
Yes, yes. And I think there is an advantage that we can speak for the people that can speak English, because are connected with more writers around the world, and you know that it's pretty much the same for everyone. Like if you self-publish or you are traditional published, and it's hard for everyone. Um, but to know that that struggle is for everyone is like great. You know, it's not because sometimes Chilean, we have that thing that, oh, we are, the last country in the South America, and we are little, and we are
Yeah, no,
maybe.
nobody is in Chile because he was passing by. You come to
Yeah.
Chile.
Yeah, yes,
You're
exactly.
here, and it's
uh
because of you.
yeah. And you know that that's the same problem that have everyone, like there's some editor that wants to publish me. Probably no, but they know that even the rejection letter is important. It's an achievement. Like, no, you don't. We don't like your story. Like, well, what what can we do? Like, okay, next. Um, and that's great to have that feel of community and have this kind of events for writing. Uh, I think that is hopeful for everyone.
Yes.
Charlie, are you writing short stories or a novel?
A novel. Yeah.
What's your genre?
I like more mystery ones.
Mystery?
Something, yeah, mystery. Something more related to detective things. Maybe some romance, but I think my weakness is fantasy.
Fantasy in general.
Yeah.
And you, Sebastian? I think that you're for a mystery.
I I I write. I don't know the author that said when when you see your library, you will see one spot where there is no book. Uh, there is a lack of that book, and you have to write it. And I have a lot of gaps in my library, so I started to write that books. Um, the first one was fantasy, but heavily historical. The research was huge. It took years, only the research. The second one is about a big uh, a big slaughter, manslaughter that was in Chile, the Matanza de la Plaza Colón. That was in the north, where there are mines, and the workers had a strike at 1908, and they were killed, about 300 people. I took that and made a fictional version, but very, very close to the original. So I could take some elements that are fantastic, but the novel is not for young people. It's very hard and very, very straightforward, um, and has a lot of cursing, a lot. Uh, that was a problem. So I decided to publish it by myself, because only in the first page there was about 20 cursings. It is a girl that is screaming at the military, at the police, when they are taking her to jail. And so you have to curse. And now I wrote uh, young adult, no, child. It's about the segment of the 12 years old. I don't know the name. And it is about a heist in a school where the boys are trying to change the grades of all the school, but it has always something of social criticism. Um, in this case, it's about the educational system that in Chile is heavily mercantilized. So
Yeah.
mercantilized, yeah. Um, and well, they are fighting the the family that it's a mafia, um, that controls the educational system of that town. And I write another now I'm writing a novel, a romantic novel about two straight cis guys around this time, when the pandemic is starting to get down the number of cases, uh, and they start to talk and remember the days before the pandemic. And it is a romantic novel with a lot of sex, and I don't feel that comfortable with that. But you have to push your boundaries. So
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to research too, I think.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
people like me, like you have to do
I
your research. I
before
mean,
the pandemic,
yeah,
I did a lot of research uh, with spreadsheets and everything of the results of Tinder. So I had my key performance indicators. Yeah, and that's why I thought this has to be written. There is a lot of groundwork. So
yeah, but you have to do your research. Like, yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
I I like that there's a lot of tools in English for writing. And the bad thing there are mostly in English. I found the the author collection from of writing helping writers. There is like they're presenting like a lot of tools for writing if you want to write about misery, or if you don't know how some kind of job is. You have the guides, and Ackerman is one of the authors, and they describe what is the conditions and what is the emotional feeling of someone in that position. And it's really helpful for, I don't know how to describe someone that is really stressed or really happy. And and you have these tools for describing better, and you don't have to to imagine that much, or at least to check if you have a good description of the situation. I think that's, and unfortunately there's a lot in English,
yeah,
Well, we
yeah,
not
we use
not
we use
everywhere.
a lot of English words to describe
Mm,
things about writing, and in Spanish it's not standardized.
yeah. Yeah, like what you were
yes.
saying, and Andrea, it's how it's a great advantage to know English because most of the resources are in the community also. Not just the resources that you can access like articles and books and things like that, but also the human resource of other people that you can talk to and be like, hey, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. I don't know how to go about this problem.
Yeah.
And you can like talk to hundreds and thousands of people if you speak English. And if you don't, you just kind of like limit it to your own language, your own native language. So I think that's another advantage of speaking English, just a bigger community.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, AS, how are you? Yes, you're German too. Yes, it's a lot of, it's a lot of help to find the all the tools or all the uh yeah. Now I'm speaking English. It's opens a few worlds for everyone, I think. You I wish that all of us can speak the same language, or everyone can speak Spanish or Chinese to communicate better. um
And English is a better lingua franca than
yeah,
Spanish, German, that are
I
very
follow
complex
this
languages.
guy in Hi, and this author, this YouTuber that is, it compares English, French, and Spanish. I don't remember his name, but it's really fun because the a lot of people have the problem with French and Spanish with the verbs, the because we have like an old conjugation of verbs, and it's so hard for people that speak English. And I like their videos that is like, why you do that, French or Spanish? To confuse the Americans so they can understand that. Like, yes, why we have all these verbs and words for the gender changes for, I remember agua for water, that we can use it in feminine or in masculine, and that's a whole mess. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
and
start
and
writing
French
with
people did a step forward and made the thing more most difficult. It has
more
the
complex.
pronunciation and the context and
Yeah. I was just thinking how our world would be so much better if it was like in those fantasy settings where there's just like a common tongue and that everybody just immediately speaks. Like by default, which
I
is
don't think
very
so.
realistic
I
when
don't
you
think so.
think about it. Like when you think about it, because English would kind of like play that role, I think, on Earth. But it's very unrealistic to assume that everybody is just like born speaking common. Uh, and I was talking about it with a friend who writes fantasy. And she was like, nobody would be born speaking common, just like nobody's born speaking English, except born English speakers. And I was like, yeah, but it's nice to think that there's like a simple solution to a language barrier.
and
There's this.
and we were
Sorry.
talking about this last night about the differences between regional dialects or yeah the different regional dialects or it happens that in English for me the differences between a British one and an Australian people is it's not that different. And between Spanish, uh, the Spanish, the Castellano that they speak in Spain is is very different
Yeah.
to our Spanish, very different. And there is a huge gap if you go to Argentina because they speak like another language, have other words and the verbs and the pronouns are not the same, and the accent is more like Italian,
Yeah,
and we are it could not be a standard tongue if it was in Spanish because it's very different. Caribbean people speak very different with us, and there are a lot of words that are only in one region on in one country, and it's different between the 30 something Spanish speaking people.
Yeah.
We
I
are a whole
remember.
world ourselves.
Yeah. I was
I like
remembering
the
how last
this
night we were
is this.
talking about the local words and how hard it is to speak like a neutral Spanish, if there is such a thing as a neutral version of a language. And I have a lot of American friends, and whenever they come to Chile, they always tell me that they thought they spoke Spanish until
No,
they
no, no.
got to
You have to
Chile.
speak English,
And then they were
Chilean.
like,
Like yeah,
I understand nothing. And I'm like, yeah, but Chilean Spanish is like, it's special. Because I think we use a lot of like local words. We're used to like
sure.
a lot of Chilean specific words. And when you're trying to like, okay, if I like, I remember one time somebody was challenging me to speak more neutral, and I realized how many of the words we speak are like Chilean words. Then I just thought the word just like
Sure.
general Spanish, and I was like, everybody says that word. And they were like, no,
Yeah, and
no.
in Chile we speak very fast, so it's more
Yes.
difficult for strangers.
I
Yeah, and the
remember
words
this
are
character
shorter.
in oh sorry in Douglas Adams' The Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy. They have this bubble fish that you
Yeah,
put in your ear and you understand every language that you listen, and that's I think that's amazing.
and there
Um,
is this translator
yeah,
in the web that's Babblefish because of that. That's very cool.
exactly. I like what said. Yes, I think that the different language and culture, it's amazing. Like the language, of course, send us in a path. Like if we have just one language, it's not going to be as rich as um, as we are now. But
Mm.
I agree with Anne that we need to eradicate time zones. For me, it was so hard because I know that this chat was 6 a.m. EST, and I was panicking because we have 1 hour more. So I woke up at 6 a.m. to see if we were late or not. And no, I checked the time zone like 100 times to see if we were changing. Like, okay, in the worst case, I go at 6 a.m. and doesn't matter. They start calling you, but no, it was actually at 7 a.m. Time zone, I hate time zone. Yeah, yeah. And
Sleeping is
in a
for
lot
the
of
weak,
places.
Andrea. Sleeping is for the weak.
No.
Oh, no, no, no. I
I,
am a
I
No,
very
that
hate to
sounds
to
dedicated
to
very
person.
sleep.
confusing.
The I like the beauty of those different languages. The comment, I think that too. I try to learn different languages. Well, Portuguese is very similar to Spanish, um, and I think the translation to Portuguese for us as authors is it would be very easy. The there these nuances will be reflected uh, in a Portuguese translation. I think even our insults and common phrases.
Yeah, my kid is learning Italian because he wants to learn Italian. Basically because no, they invent pizza and pasta, and it's like why he wants to. He's 10 years old, so he based their
Those are
decision
very
in
good
that. And
motivations.
it's yeah, yeah, and it's why you want to. No, I don't know, because they invented pizza and pasta, but the tomato sauce is Mexican. Like, I don't know, he gave me that. And yeah, I think that it's so beautiful to be able to speak with other person in their own language. You understand better what they mean with the things. I tried to learn a little bit of Russian a few years ago, and I learned a little bit of Chinese too. And the your mind start thinking in
Yeah.
in that same um, in that same language. I mean, the way that you construct your phrases. I really like to learn German because I think that there are a lot of philosophy work is made in German, and we lost a lot of the translation,
Yeah.
even in English or Spanish. And I think that philosophy you need to learn it in, in German to be able to enjoy more what they are telling.
Yeah. Also, the way German constructs the words with like adding words. That's yeah. We read also philosophy when I was studying,
Agglutinant words.
and
I think it's the term.
yeah,
Uh,
and they were like,
like,
my teacher were always said, "Well, this is the German word." It was like 50 letters long. And they were like, I can't really translate it into one word, so I will translate it into a phrase. And yeah, like what you were saying, it's also speaking to people in their native language, but also yeah, understanding, reading work, a published work in their original language is just such a different experience than reading
a friend
a
of mine
translation, no
that's
matter
that's
how
from
good the
Germany says,
translation is.
beg your pardon.
No,
A German friend of mine says that uh, German people hate the spacebar, and that's the origin of all the philosophy, the Occidental philosophy from the 18th.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
long word combination. Yes, yes. But I like because all that exactly that all combination. It's a really elaborate phrase and a really beautiful concept most of the time. And it's really nice.
It's
I'm
very
now
it's
in
very
my
very precise, very precise. I like
yeah
that.
yeah
Spanish is precise, but I think Spanish language is starting to get back. It's not getting ahead on the I don't know the English takes words and it's very easy to catch up with the times. And Spanish being so structured, um, I think it is not doing the work. There is a lot of neologisms that are not
Yeah.
catching in Spanish, and it is difficult to say it, to talk about that things that are global now.
Yeah.
We
And
need
also think
to make Spanish a tool.
yeah, I agree with that. And I also think we need to make people understand because people are very resistant to change when it comes to Spanish, right? I'm queer. I'm part of the LGBT community, and we have a lot of resistance with things like neutral pronouns. For those of you listening who don't speak Spanish, everything is gendered in Spanish. Everything you see in my camera, the curtains, the wall, my glasses, my hair, everything is gendered in Spanish. There is no neutral pronoun. There has been a movement to try to include a neutral pronoun, which I think it's very useful in general, not just for people. But why is a car like gendered? Things like that. I heard about
Gender
that
is a
in
masculine
Germany.
word.
In Germany, certain things are not gendered because it doesn't make sense. And there's a lot of resistance. They're like, well, the Royal Academy of Spanish says that those things don't exist. And it's like, yeah, but languages evolve. We don't speak the same Spanish that they spoke in Chile like 200 years ago. We don't speak the same language. It has changed so much. If you read letters from like 200 years ago from the independence period, they're like so different. They're even hard to understand because the language
Yeah.
has changed. We need to be more open to change. And I think that kind of like resistant and like love for tradition of like this is the pure Spanish and everything else is just like contaminating it and ruin it. That just it's just limiting because it prevents this language from growing and adapting to the reality that is changing. We live in a different world that we live in like 20 years ago, or even 5 years ago, or even 2 years ago before the pandemic. And we need to like be more adaptable, and I think that's one of the problems with, but it's not a problem with Spanish per se. I think it's just a problem with like people being very resistant to change and like wanting to keep their language just like pure and perfect, and it's like that serves no purpose.
And that's why we start using English words or other
Yeah.
words for saying something like, I always like this Portuguese word that is saudade, you can explain it like it's like a mood of loneliness and to think about. And it's really, for me, it was really like, oh, okay, you can explain this in Spanish because there's a word
What's the
for
word?
that.
Yeah.
What?
Saudade.
So that, yeah,
Yeah.
but nostalgia and añoranza are
Yeah,
good,
Yeah, but
I
it's
think
are
not.
similar.
Yeah, but there's
exactly that.
like saudade specifically is the sense of like there's a Galician word. My family's from Galicia in Spain. And there's a word called morriña in Galicia, which is a specific um like longing for the land that you left and the people that you left in the land.
Mhm.
And it's specifically like migrant work. So it's not you can't just like, yeah, you can say nostalgia, you can say añoranza, but it doesn't have that specific idea of like I miss my homeland. That's basically the idea behind that word. Like how you after you left, um, how you long for your homeland and the people in your hometown. And that word is just so rich and complex in meaning that it's untranslatable to word. You always miss something when you
like
translate it. It's
like
like one
that
of my
that
favorite
word,
words.
like that Yagan word that's like mami la pinata pie. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
That's
remember.
that's very specific. And yeah, The comment is absolutely true. We have to make a research of our own languages, and to see where they are unique, and work on it. I think that's very important, at least for me as a writer, to write from Chile, from my country, from my space. And that's why I can't write about in fantasy, about dragons and elves and orcs, because that's not me. I I have to write about uh, brujos, wizards, but it's not the same, because the connotation of a Chiloé brujo
Yeah.
is not a wizard, exactly, not a warlock. It would be translated as warlock, but it has something that's very unique, and it's not the same as other magicians or warlocks of South America. They have their own flavor, and I think we have to make a research, and put on the contents and words and ways to say things.
Yeah,
Yes, I think that the yeah.
uh, Spanish is a really rich in words, and I was like time ago I was reading like a research that we use a really few words compared to all the words in Spanish that we could use. So myself is like when I write, it's like, yeah, I don't know, I wanna write hacer, realizar, but I wanna search another synonym, and there's a lot of words. So I think we, as Spanish writers, m- myself included, there is a lot of words we don't know.
Mm.
But also because I what I do is to start writing something like a draft and put like asterisk and put like find another word for this, like I don't find the word for this, or I don't like this word, or I already use it. um which part of the I have a discussion the other day about we want to enrich our own language, or we want to do and do the hard part of others understand what we are writing, because they're not words that are like uh, widely used, or we want to go and do something that everyone understands, like where is the like the definition between using the right word in your own language, or whatever language that you want, or you're going to use something that is more widely used for everyone to understand. I know
Mm.
that it's not just black and white, because your story should be as fun as the people write reading that, even they can look for the word they don't understand. But where is the balance also for that?
I always try to choose the simple word, uh, but but using something like a thesaurus is very helpful in the moment, because we get stuck with, I know that there is a word about this specific thing I'm saying, and I need that word now, and I cannot uh, write anything if I don't have that word in my computer right now. and and that's important, because if I get stuck with that, and I need to have this word in my mind. And in Chile, there there is a lot of oral tradition,
Yeah.
like poets. They call them here payadores. I have a lot of payador friends. They are repentistas. It would be like um, improvised poets, but they have a structure. It's not like rappers or something like that. It has a structure. The verses are very specific. They they for example, they usually use the decima espinela. That's 10 verses that are like this. Like this, the first, fourth, and fifth uh, have the same rhyme. Second and third, the sixth, seventh, and tenth, and the other two have. So you have four final rhymes, and they have to be 8 syllables. But they in Spanish we have to count the number of syllables according to the accent. So it's very difficult, and you have to know a lot of words. And I try to put some of poetry in my work. Um, the first novel has around 200 verses in a couple of stories, and I started to talk with these poets. They do this on stage. They ask
Yeah.
for a verse, and that's the final verse, like the foot of the decima, and they have to improvise at the moment with a guitar, pa, 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 and it's something like a dialogue because paya means two. So payador is someone who talks in verses and fast and with the guitar and everything. And I took a course with one of them, and it was very helpful to get the thesaurus away because you have to start thinking in similar words very fast. I really recommend in Chile if you can go to places with payadores like Chancho Seis, for example, that started again after the quarantine, um, like yesterday. So you have to make your research and go. It's very cool.
Sorry. Yeah. Um, yes, I find myself sometimes finding the word in other language, and I don't like that. Like I don't like we were talking the other day about the outline and the scenes and the even for writing, when you start like writing, even the structure is in English. For me was like you have the plot and the outline and all these words that I was asking you the translation, because I didn't find it like the correct translation that makes sense for me also. And but I think that is also rich in in other ways, that you can absorb others language for the sake of you expressing better. But yeah, I think that Spanish, every language, I guess every language is not well used, or is not used in the whole of their thesaurus. Like I don't know how many words we speak from the ones that are in Spanish, but I always follow Reddit's subreddits about languages, and everyone is complaining about the same thing, like, oh yes, my language has 3,000 words and we use just 300. And I always have this, like, do we need to teach others, like we have an educational um, purpose too, because I'm a teacher too, so or just stay with my things and there everyone can learn their thing, like.
Yeah,
What
different
is supposed?
languages have different purposes. Uh, Spanish is not very good at Chilean Spanish. It's not very good at insults for me. I write a lot of curses in my work, and I lack of good words. English is not very good. It, it it basically use 6 words and mix them up. Uh, French people have good words, but the way of saying them is not very good for me. They're not an insult. Same with Sweden. Like
And Italian is
when
about the hands too.
Italian is very good. Yeah,
It's
I
like the
I like that.
Italian is about the hands too. So yeah, yeah. I'm always like thinking about how to translate also because I participate in a lot of English communities. How can I, if I have a question about some words, how can I do a better translation so they can understand what I'm trying to say. Because I'm not I'm not an interpreter. I'm just someone who speak something about some English. But yeah, it's and it's really fun to be able to understand the other writers in their own language. I'm having my Neil Gaiman uh, month, and I'm reading Neil Gaiman in Spanish and in English, and it is fun because there's some of their work that you have like the contextualization because he's English, so there's sometimes phrases that you don't understand even if you speak English. So they have the footnote of what that means, like what that phrase means for what they're saying. And I like that. I like that the respect also for their own language. Like, okay, that phrase means this thing. Uh, because even if you understand English, you don't really understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
That happened to me with Terry Pratchett. It, I read
Hmm.
it first in Spanish, a couple of books, and when I took the English version, was whoa, what was I doing
Yeah.
to Sir Terry Pratchett? No, no, never more. Terry Pratchett is in English, and the
Yeah.
Bible,
Yeah. I
the
have
Bible,
good
the Bible
comments.
is the same. The Bible we really had to read it in the original language, and and everything that happened after was bad translations. Uh, yeah, that's Virgin Mary, and she's now canonically a virgin, and that was not the word. She was like the girl that girl Mary, but not virgin. And now she's virgin and she has like superpowers of virginity. I said it like a Catholic. It's weird.
Yeah. That
We can
yeah.
blame bad editors of a lot of wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with the Bible, I think there is a convenient mistranslation. Like um, it was more convenient also for the politics behind the Catholic Church or the Christianity in general. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
but
think
but
that
but with good editors at the second century, I don't know, uh,
hmm,
we would have had a lot less of reasons for wars in the 1400. I don't know.
yeah. Do you use an editor, Sebastian, for reviewing your work before
My
publishing?
first work, yeah, because it was with an editor house. Not very happy with the results because I gave them a manuscript redacted and with correction and everything, and they didn't took it. So My first book is the second I have read with more typos. It's incredible. It's like a record for
Okay.
me. The second one has a bit of typos too, but it was made everything by me. I used to edit thesis in the university, so I do that work for for me. But after a few months, because you have to cool off the text, so you have a different vision. My mom is a teacher, so when she can, um, she does some editing previous for me. But now with NaNoWriMo, actually, I learned that you have to let go. You have to not proofread. Uh, the editors will take care of your text. You have to write, and the tone is important. But the if you have a double space or something, that's not a thing.
But you use, for example, beta readers too.
Yeah.
Like if you finish your draft, then you edit it and then you send it to someone else, to your mom or someone else to read it.
Yeah, I have a friend that's very good at that because he has a problem with like angry issues. So everything
Okay.
triggers him, and when I give him a draft, he hates everything, and why did you use that verb and everything. That's very cool, except a year when he took medication for that problem, and I had to publish my first novel. So, well, I couldn't use him for that. And my girlfriend is a very fast reader and is very acute with the comments. So I had that two people, but are close to me. I never used someone external, uh, except with the first editorial house, when I have the analyze here, about 3-4 pages long.
But you use it for just for language or also for the story, for like plot holes or time lapse, time problems.
Now I try to mainly ask them for a feeling of the text, if the words are okay, if the text is fast. I write very fast. That's like my click, my thing. A lot of dialogue, so I need, particularly because of a lot of dialogue, I need to have a good tone. You Good writing. Uh, you don't know when someone makes a good writing. If you can note that you are not doing it well. So I have to make a lot of proofreading because it has to be smooth, and that's the main thing for me in a better reading, and that's why I take my text 6 months or a year after, and then I
And then
I
you
I proofread, and I have a very bad memory, so it's very cool, and like, I wrote that. Wow, it was better than I thought. Because when you're writing, you think everything sucks. It's not good. The text, what am I writing? And a year after is, well, that was okay.
Yeah,
I
I
like
used
that.
to think like that. I
I think
used
it's
to,
very common.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because before NaNoWriMo, I used to write alone, and I wasn't in a community. So, like last year, 2020, I I joined the community, and I met a lot of people. So now I have a friend who told me, oh, you wrote a novel with a lot of words, and you can give me to your work, and I can read it and give you advice and that. And I was like, it sucks. I don't like it because I'm not used to another person as a hobby to read my work. It's like I write for NaNoWriMo and then it keeps that in the computer because now I wanna how to say like take that risk, and yeah, I wanna my friend to read it and give me advice and to to learn a lot more.
Charlie, and you edit, you you write your draft and then you wait a little bit and then you review that first draft, or you just leave it that way?
For example, last year NaNoWriMo, I because it's a month, I wrote like super fast, and then I left them like for a few months, and then I took took it in April, and then I start to edit. Yeah, and it happening to me like Sebastian said, like, oh, I wrote that. In that moment it sucked, but then no, it wasn't that bad. And
Well,
then
it
I
happens. It
realized,
happens
huh?
because I drink a lot when I write. Not editing, but I drink a lot writing. So I really don't remember that well. And the
Oh,
notes
you
that
do
like
the
Andrea said like these little notes we write at the side of the
yeah.
document of the I think yeah that's a good point, man. And another
Yes,
note
I
to the
do
drunken me.
notes for my. Yeah. So I was reading the other day a book about writing. It was like, yeah, you write drunk and edit sober,
Yeah,
so you can so you can edit better.
yeah, boost
Yes,
boost to
I left
write,
notes.
coffee to edit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I like to have this because I usually interrupt myself writing, and I write by hand because it focuses me more on the writing. But at the beginning, I stopped myself a lot trying to edit in the same word. Um,
How you
and
edit the word in handwriting?
you you just
Ah,
yeah, you, I don't know how you say that, but I just put a blank a black uh, line there and just keep editing
I like the Spanish
and
word
writing.
tarjar. I like that.
Tarjar,
Like
yes, yes,
tarjar.
yes,
Pachar.
like you just
Um,
erase it. um Yes, that's a good way to surprise. Yes, I think that, oh, I did print that, write that. Like, oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Um, and because oh, this is a little nerdy, but your brain, it's more focused on the writing when you write by hand. Um, the keyword, it's more automatic, so sometimes you don't think or you don't like absorb what you're writing um in the same way. So I that worked for me, and I can and I really write fast by hand. um so that's better for me, like
You're more
and
that's a
conscious.
good point. Hmm?
No, I was telling Andrea because you write with a handwriting, it's like you're more conscious about your
yeah, about
That,
what
yeah.
that
you're writing.
I think that's a good point, a good advice because I told you, I write a lot of dialogue. A lot of the text is dialogue. So it has sense that the the that thing you said about the writing in the keyboard, because I need to be in the conversation. I have to visualize that conversation, and if I had to write it by hand, uh, I will not be in the place, because I play role playing games since the 1994. So I like that image of the conversation that is in your head, and I try to put it like it is in happening in my imagination, and after the blah 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 said someone, blah 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 replied, blah blah blah. um, but the outline, I do it by hand. The first outline, the flux of the characters and everything, that has to be by hand. So I think I will use that, Andrea. The
Yes,
some parts with by hand, some parts by keyboard.
yeah, and thanks God, at least for me, the the speech to text apps on your phone are really precise in Spanish. So then I just dictate, and I don't have to uh, you like copy again on the computer, because like that was at the beginning was like, oh, and then I have to type write this, like I don't like it. But yeah, for me it's working better because I can focus on what I'm writing, and I'm kind of fast writing by hand. So and I understand what I write by hand, because yeah, that's a problem too if you don't understand what
Yeah,
you are writing. And, and then yeah, so yes, I don't have a doctor handwriting, but it's not calligraphy too, but yes, I can understand whatever. So I
yeah,
think that we are going
uh,
to, yeah, sorry, Tony.
yeah. I was like, you are talking about writing by hand, and it happened to me when I write on NaNoWriMo. Like I put an automatic mode, and I write in the, yeah. Sometimes I don't know what I want writing. So it's like, yeah, because of the time you have to reach the goal, you are like under pressure. But yeah, what I think, you're right, Andrea, because when you write by hand, you are more conscious of what you are writing, and maybe you can take that opportunity to edit at the same time, because sure, I write a lot of words, and I think I have to take my time and some months to edit what I wrote, because sometimes it's like I don't remember what I wrote.
But I think that is good. Don't remember what you wrote sometimes. Like, yeah, you have your surprises, even if you're even if you're not drunk. It's good to have a surprise when you don't know what you write. Sometimes, yes, it's better. So I think that we are going to start wrapping up. In 13 more minutes, it's going to start I don't know what, the sixth sprint. It's the fundraiser for NaNoWriMo. It's on the channel of Kate Kavanaugh's channel. I don't know if I can. I don't know if, how can I copy the link for that. It's going to start in, yes, a little more than 10 minutes. Remember to stretch, take your water. This is the 7:30 a.m. for EDT or EST. The sprint number 6 is going to be with Charmaine, Cam, and Kahila. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. And it's going to be the fundraiser for the NaNoWriMo year. And yes, it's in Kate Kavanaugh channel. There's a lot of people also in waiting for that. I think that this is the link for that. I think. Um, and thank you very much to everyone. I don't know if you want to say something for closing this chat. I think that is really great that other that South Americans or Latin American can start participating in these events. It's great for the community too. If you want to say something for wrapping up and share your links or your Instagram, I'm going to leave them on the description too.
I don't know, Consuelo? No,
What? No?
no,
Sorry,
no,
guys.
because the last night we were talking about the closures. Well, I think it I would use this opportunity to make a few recommendations, not about me, but about writers that are from South America or Spain. Um, there is a lot of very good authors in Chile. Um, the our in Latin America, our writing culture is very prolific. Obviously, we have Julio Cortázar and Borges and the most famous ones. But here we have in Chile, for example, we had in Tales and no, it's not very new, but Hernán del Solar, for example, is a very good children writer. A bit outdated because the themes are sometimes shocking for our standards, but this is a very good recommendation. And well in Spain there is a lot. I like historical novels, and it's not the most aware author, but I like Arturo Pérez Reverte because of the historical investigation. The historical books are very good, and if you can read them in Spanish, is very satisfying. The Adventures of Capitán Alatiste uh, are a very well well investigated novels about the Siglo de Oro Español, the 1600. So I I really recommend that author in that context. I don't know if you have uh, Hispano-American authors to recommend.
Actually, there are a lot of Chilean authors out there, younger ones. Um, for example, my friend released his book last year, and it's a fantasy book. And I read it in a month. It was really surprised because yeah, one thing is write a novel and left that left it there, and then another thing is like publish it. And I think it's really like to say how do you I say like take that risk and publishing your novel. And for example, Katakawa,
Yeah,
I yeah, I bought her book and I still don't read it, but it's still at my library. And
is that
you when
in Wattpad now or isn't?
I don't know if she took it down when she published it. I'm not
it
sure.
was it was I don't know if it is now, but like Kata or my friend Dayton, and there is a lot of young writers here in Chile too. So it's like, well, I give you the invitation to search our young writers because They write a lot of interesting things.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
I have
support that.
my favorites here.
Recommendation.
For kids, I love José Faraos and Jun Garcia. They wrote Las Lecciones Mágicas de Lulu. These are children. This one is
Yeah.
specifically about the Constitution, democracy, and citizenship. This is the first one. And also, I love books from Gabriel Leon. There is a scientist that wrote science book for children, and have this collection. This one is why the dogs move their tail. Oh,
Oh,
there.
Yeah, they're very
And this is
good. They're very good.
they're very
Yeah.
good. It's with questions about science, but he also write for adults, and he have this pandemic book. Gabriel Jung is awesome. Have a lot of, and I think there is translated to English too. And the other one that I love is Andres Gombarov. And he write about science and physics, and have this one that is physics and how do you say berenjenas in English? I don't remember how this is tell.
I hate
Um,
berenjenas, so
Eggplants.
eggplant.
I
Yes,
think that
eggplant.
is eggplants. Yes,
Yeah.
physics and eggplants. And also have this one that is with Jose Edwards. That is Einstein's for perplexed people. Einstein for perplexed, and it's the story about Einstein and how
Oh,
he accomplished his theories, and also about this is a lot of for astronomy too. Is Profe Jose Maria Massa. There is a national astronomer and physicist. I think there is, no, I don't know if he's a physicist, but he has we are a star powder and eclipses.
and
He's our national.
there are videos in YouTube of Professor Massa reading to children, and are very
Yes,
very good.
they're,
My
they're very
4-year-old
good.
niece loves the videos.
Yes, I'm a fan of science too. So yes, this is are my favorites um, reading for that. So thank you very
Now,
much.
one
Yeah.
thing about the Decima Spinella. I really recommend the Reventist, these poems that are made in the moment, and you can read about Decima Spinella. It has a lot of regional variants. The main are for me in Uruguay, Cuba. Uh, I like Chile, obviously, and I think in Puerto Rico is starting to take off. But it's a tradition, and if you can read them, and if you can read them in Spanish, the better, because you could understand the verses. So I really recommend to read about that.
I wish I had more recommendations. I've mostly been reading nonfiction lately, so but I support what Charlie said to find your local up young and upcoming writers, support them. Your fellow writers from your local communities, whether it's NaNoWriMo or another platform. If they're publishing, support their books, buy their books. That's how we will get more diversity and new perspectives in the published.
yeah. This is my friend's book. His name El Logok and Las Guerras Noxis. It's a fantasy book. It's really big, but it's very interesting. I don't like fantasy, and I read this book in a month, and it's like a record for me. So I really recommend it. Oh,
Okay, my final two. My final two. This one is Martina Cañas. There is uh, um,
Wow, very
short
good book.
short stories of a drunken woman.
Yeah.
Uh, yes,
oh
tales
yeah.
of a drunken woman, and also Sol Diaz with his. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm really bad with genres, but I saw also like really little poems. There is how to be a elegant, fancy woman or an elegant woman, and the other is how to be a fancy woman and good and from a good family, and it's like a little bit of, well, you can take it literally. I like to take it more with 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 the humor of what she says on these books are illustrated both. They're really beautiful, uh, and they're really short phrases about how to be a fancy woman, and be uh, of a good family in some ways. Those are mostly Chilean or Latin American or Spanish representations. And yes, please, Renner, come back and see if you can find some of these in English or in German, maybe. I don't know. Thank you very much. It's going to start in a few minutes, right in a minute. Also, Kate Kavanaugh with the uh, fundraiser for NanoGrimo. I don't know if NanoGrimo or NanoGrimo. I always have that miss that. I don't know. So thank you very much, everyone. Consuelo, Sebastian, and Charlie, and hope to see you soon. Goodbye and good luck with your NanoGrimo.
Thanks
Yeah.
for you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.